all the other methods.
Fabricio, I can't, could you go back?
Yes.
I can't quite make out, what's the one at the beginning that does really well?
So this one is the active search.
That's okay.
Yeah, so one thing that happens with all the methods is that they might do well in the beginning, but because they have this sort of recurring bias, then the performance erodes over time. And also in the beginning, the absolute differences are not that large. Okay, so the contributions of this last part are the following. We introduced the selective harvesting over networks. We showed that the existing heuristics and classifiers perform poorly on it. We showed that using multiple methods is key to better performance. We proposed a QTS and showed that it exhibits similar or superior performance to other methods on all the data sets we analyzed. Preliminary version of this work was presented at the NetSec conference in 2014, and we submitted it to current version to Data Mining and Knowledge Discovery Journal, and it's currently under review. So other publications that in which I got involved during this PhD are the work on sampling directed graphs with random walks, the directed unbiased random walk method that I talked about in the beginning, and characterizing branching process from sample data that was published in the Simplex workshop that happened together with that done in 2013. So that brings us to the final part, conclusions and future work. So in this thesis, we used sampling and estimation for two different purposes. One is to characterize networks, which can be thought as the traditional purpose. And the other is to find target nodes. The approaches, we also use sort of two contrasting approaches. One is more empirical, where we make several practical considerations and propose methods that can be used in practice. And the other is more analytical in nature, where we look at a simple model that allows us to establish strong theoretical results. In terms of future work, concrete directions include the study of other sampling processes, for example, shortest path sampling, which is known to be a hard problem for estimating from shortest path sampling is known to be a hard problem for arbitrary graphs, but perhaps for specific graphs such as branching processes, it's something that is doable. Another thing is in DQTS we obtain diversity from using different classifiers for combining these different methods. But if all these methods decide that they want to rank the fringe nodes exactly in the same way, then we don't get any diversity. Then one open question is there a systematic way of achieving this diversity? Can perhaps we use the same model, different instances of the same model, but with setting the parameters of them in a way that achieves diversity? How can we measure that in a useful way? And the last thing, which I found very interesting, is how to adapt DQTS to recruitment and social networks, where when the characteristic we are interested is the interest in the campaign. So if you try to recruit that individual and he doesn't want to be recruited, then you don't see his connections or his profile. So in a more abstract level, general directions for this type of research include the study of other data science problems that arise in the context of systems that can be modeled as networks. And I'd like to thank everyone, thanks to the committee, and also some people in particular. I'd like to thank my advisor, John, for all he has taught me during these 5 years, and for giving me the freedom to choose what to work on, and at the same time, the guidance that I needed. I also thank Bruno, from whom I learned a lot, for the great experience working together, and all the people I collaborated with in the last 5 years. My lab mates for the helpful discussions and fun moments necessary to go through these times when stress is elevated, and to all dear friends who were always there for me and would not fit in this slide. So last but not least, to my wife and son, who went through my ups and downs and never stopped. That's it.
Questions? We still have Ben, right?
Ben? Oh, he didn't call me.
Yep.
Okay.
No, I'm here, sorry, I was
Okay.
muted.
I just wanted to check, we probably should have checked a little bit. Anyway, questions from the audience? It can be also from committee members. Well, if there aren't any questions, I want to thank Fabricio. And I'll ask everybody but the committee and Fabricio to step outside.
All right.